Welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host Jason.
And this guy,
This guy is that?
the the
Oh, it's
the, the
Sean.
video the video is lagging, so it's
I know.
not showing me pointing down at my name.
And Sean,
Okay. And
we have
Shawn.
got to. I tell you, man, I've been so frustrated. We did the anyway. I ain't gonna worry about it right now.
Yeah.
We were doing our
Anyway.
round five African American led films in honor of Black History Month here in February. We wanted to do something and not try to feel like we're having to research fake information. At least me personally. So I was given a lot of lists and things like, hey, here's some good lists you can pick from of like inventors and entrepreneurs and you know theologians, and I don't really know any of those well enough to make a my personal top five list.
Yeah, I couldn't either for sure. And our show is mostly about celebrities and movies and comic books. So
Yeah, yeah, and we've done we've done other lists and stuff before, but this is our first time doing a African American led film round five. So Sean, I'm gonna let you lead off first, sir.
well, this is an oldie but a goldie. I hate saying that, but I did it anyway. Beverly Hills Cop. I grew up with Beverly Hills Cop, and yeah, there you go. Detroit City. Um, Eddie Murphy, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you're looking at him. How do you not laugh? He's just such a fun-loving guy. There's so much stuff. I watched this not long ago. Um, and I was like, "Oh man, I remember those things." It was such a throwback for me. But probably one of my favorite little segments is the banana and the tailpipe. It's just if you don't know the reference, you'll have to watch the movie. But it's great. There's action, there's laughter, there's more laughter, and
yeah,
it's Eddie Murphy. So what do you say?
yeah. Just the trailer. I haven't seen the full film, so just the trailer alone made me want to see it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
dude,
just
you got to
like,
watch it. And two and three are great movies too, but the first movie, there's just nothing like it.
gotcha, gotcha. So my number five might throw some people off is Intro into the Spider Verse. So yes, it's animation, but the main character in the story is African American or African American and Latino, and then the actor is African American. So it's a great film, probably one of the best Spider-Man films. Period. Great story. You got the introduction into the idea of a multiverse in films, in Marvel films. The animation of it was great. I love how they had the comic book snippets in there, like the wording and all those things. The way they played off of that was great. Seeing the father uncle, relationship with his father, relationship with his uncle, all of those things just made for a really fantastic story. Seeing his struggle, I think, people always related to the original Spider-Man, like being a young kid trying to be a hero. I think a lot of people also relate to Miles Morales and his particular thing. Like, no, I don't want to be a hero. Like, don't make me do this. I don't want this responsibility. And I think a lot of people nowadays they feel like that. It's like I don't want all this huge responsibility anymore. Like, you know, I don't want to be the hero. Not that he wants to be a bad person, but he doesn't want to have all that weight on him, which is
Yeah.
understandable. A lot of people feel that way. It was hilarious. It was a great comedy film, and just overall, man, I think it was one of the it is one of the top, probably my favorite animation movie. Period, and then top three Spider-Man films of all time. I'd have to say. So it ranks very high for me. So
Wow, that is saying a lot. It is also the only animated movie that my daughter will watch.
oh, cool, cool, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So let's go to number four.
All right, number four, the 2019 release of Shaft.
I've
He's
never
a
seen
bad mother. Shut your mouth.
I've never seen any Shaft movies
Really?
at all.
Oh man, you're missing out. So culturally, the very first one was directed by a photographer. Gosh, his name is slipping my mind. African American photographer. Uh, super. awesome photographer. Actually, he directed other movies, um, but when you're talking about action films, I don't know that there's Gordon Parks is who I was thinking of, photographer.
Okay.
I don't know that there's many people that sort of embody action the way that Sam L does.
Yeah.
He's got the swagger, he's got the attitude that plays well with it. And this is sort of maybe a handing off of the lineage of Shaft in a way, but culturally they made from day one, from the very first one with Gordon Parks at the helm, they made it culturally their movie.
Yeah.
So from an outside perspective, if you're wanting to get a little more of a genuine, hey, this is a African American film through and through, this is what this is. And anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's another one I got to see too. So my number four, comic book related, and a lot of people could probably guess this was going to be on somebody's list today, is Black Panther. The This is, it came out a few years ago. It was really the first main lead African American actor in the MCU, and it just, it's through and through what people wanted to be a representation of African American culture. Even though this is African culture, still you get the Killmonger, the Michael B. Jordan in there. It created a great conflict. There were people that were still torn. Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of agreed with the villain in this. And other people agreed with the hero, with T'Challa. And just in the very end of it, for me, it was incredible. Whenever these little kids were looking at him, but like, oh goodness, like this is something that I could do too. Like, this isn't, it was like creating a new normal. And I get there's, people have conflicts. This is a fake country with fake characters. It's not a real representation of anything. However, I feel like it still inspires, or still inspirational, and it does give hope. And it shows, I think, white people the more, looking at the Killmonger's character, like you get a good understanding of how some people feel in the more Malcolm X type of feel. And so I won't say the Black Panther Party because I'm not an expert on the Black Panther Party, but in general, the film was great. It was a great action and just a great introduction to Wakanda into the MCU, minus the little tiny itty bitty thing we get in Avengers: Age of Ultron. So that's my number four.
All right. So
Number
number
three,
three for me.
we share actually.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
did you want to start? Go
No,
ahead.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. Django Unchained. So I realized something, that there's a running theme for me amongst most of my movies here
Really?
is yeah, Samuel Jackson.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he's in this as well. So Quentin Tarantino movie. Why shouldn't it be on the list? Oh, he's a white guy. Yeah, he is. But I tell you what, though, when you're talking about a filmmaker that is progressive, Quentin Tarantino is progressive.
Yeah.
You know, here we have a slave owner kind of perspective. And Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is an awesome actor. He started off in comedy. I remember watching him, Living Color stuff and everything. And it's so great to see where his career has gone. Even his music is pretty decent too.
Yeah, yeah.
So to be able to see him play a role like this, I think lends, because of his acting skills, lends so much more depth to this character that he becomes even more relatable, which is exactly what Quentin Tarantino wanted from him, is that relatability. In contrast, we do get Samuel Jackson, who is more of the true, master servant kind of guy. someone who's accepted the way that this is slavery and this is what we do and this is our role in life. And Jamie Foxx's character Janko is like, no. And it's because it's Quentin Tarantino. It's got the action in spades. So
Yeah, and I think Samuel does a good job at playing a character he doesn't agree with. Like,
yeah, he really does.
yeah, the action in it is crazy. And the movie itself gave us one of the best memes of Leo DiCaprio laughing. So a lot of people have utilized that for a lot of great comedy. And yeah, I agree. You know, Jamie, he just does an incredible job at acting in this film. Uh, you see a total different type of a character from things that he has played in the past, especially from his show to the early movies and stuff like that. And the film itself was very, I want to say, eye opening in a brutal way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it almost kind of
Sure.
reminded me of Passion of the Christ. It was so brutal. And this film kind of did that for me. But at the same time, it was probably a lot worse than what we see in the film. Uh, so yeah. So we have something in common with our number twos, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you start with yours.
Okay. So my number two is specifically Equalizer 2. So the Equalizer, the first movie was good. I liked it a lot. Equalizer 2, I felt like really kind of came into its own. That's Equalizer 1 there that we're showing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But that's okay. That's okay. And again, the first movie was good, but to me the second one was even better. It really came into its own. I feel like Denzel really kind of finds his groove in the second movie. He embraced the character in the first one for sure, but it's like the second one we get a little more background about his alphabet soup background, CIA, whatever. The thing that you have to remember is that the Equalizer started off as a TV show, I think in the '80s, late '80s, with a white guy, and so this is essentially a recasting. The TV show took place in New York. This one's in, I think, Boston. Um, and so, it, you know, I'm not a huge fan of recasting, but this is one that I felt like was absolutely perfect. Um, Denzel is complete gentleman through and through, no matter what he does, and I think that was something that was needed for this character. Um, and then action for someone his age. I don't even know how old Denzel is these days,
yeah.
but I know he's been around the block a couple times. There's 2 or 5 billion.
Yeah.
But he was born in '54, so do the math. Um, he, you know, he and I guess give it up for the director too to be able to say, hey, we're creating action without having him do ridiculous stunts or having to do a body double do ridiculous stunts that you're going to sit there and say there's no way he did that. It was all completely believable stuff. Um, Now, just real quick about the TV show, because we have a new recasting of the TV show with Queen Latifah. I am currently watching it. I do enjoy the TV show. I don't know that she was necessarily the best casting for the role. She's got acting skills for sure, but is it strong enough? I'm not entirely certain. I have her in one of my honorable mentions, and I'll talk more about her acting later. So,
Okay. So then my number two is also a sequel. It's Creed 2. Uh, more speaking of again, the first one was good. I felt like the second one, you just saw a lot more conflict, a lot more acting pulled out. Michael B. Jordan becoming a father. You see him fighting history in a way from where his father gets killed. So he's got the internal conflict. Like, am I doing this for my father's name's sake? Am I doing it for my name's sake? Am I doing it for my family? Like, why am I doing it? And I feel like that's a good lesson overall. So And I can't remember if Ryan Coogler did this one or not. I know he did the first one, but in general, though, it was just a really great film. Uh, it's a handoff type of a film, so you're seeing Rocky kind of hand over this boxing legacy to Creed. So we don't even know if we're going to see Rocky in the next one or not. I mean, he might have a mention or whatnot. Then you got Tessa Thompson. She did a great job acting in this. For me, this is one of her better roles, in my opinion, from what I've seen her do. So it's I would say co-led, African American co-led, but I'm looking forward to the third one. And Michael B. Jordan again, he was in my number four pick, Black Panther. Just in general, he's becoming a phenomenal actor to the point where I feel like he could do anything. Like honestly, I feel like he could do any type of role, and this is a good action role for him to do. And and again, you got the other areas of life that he's doing as well, becoming a husband, father, all that stuff. So it's a really good film, man. So that's my number two. Sean, what is your number one? I'm guessing there's an actor in it that we've seen on this list before.
Yeah, at least one. Yeah, Samuel Jackson in The Hateful Eight, another Tarantino movie. Yeah, I am a bit of a Tarantino fan.
I
Um,
am too. I am too from the films I've seen.
yeah, so this is westerns. I like westerns in general. Um, and he's just a sly character, man. It's a fun story. Part of what I love about this is that it kind of reminds me of some of my other favorite films, like Lifeboat by Hitchcock and 12 Angry Men, where the setting is largely, the bulk of the film is largely taking place in one specific setting. So here we're watching the stagecoach scene, but once they get to this refuge, this sort of all in one place of cabin of uh, a place to stay, place to rest, food, provisions, whatever. That this is where the bulk of the story really happens, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to follow this storyline. It's got twists and turns. It's got some of your usual Tarantino actors in it. Has Kurt Russell. It's got Tim Roth and Michael Madsen in it. I like seeing Jennifer Jason Leigh in it as well. Her character was not anything I would have pegged her to play, which I think is what's fun about it. Um, but there's Madsen, yeah. So there's just all sorts of fun stuff here. If you haven't watched this movie, I definitely recommend watching it. I even have the book for the script. That's how much I like this movie. So.
That's another one I haven't seen. I think, let me see, three of these I have not seen. So,
Wow.
so my number one is Man on Fire. Uh, this
Okay.
is this is probably I don't know. This came out back whenever I was maybe in high school, and just everything about the film it felt different. The cinematography was different. The coloring they had on it was unique. But Denzel, he's playing this retired killer assassin guy who was just a weapon of death, a weapon of mass destruction, and he's drunk, trying to find some work. He gets his bodyguard for this family's little girl, and I don't know if it's New Mexico or Mexico, I can't remember, but just the seeing him, and again, it's like heavy action, but it's not like pointless action where you got to have that stunt double. Like he can still do incredible things to make this an action based movie or action packed movie that he can do himself.
Yeah.
And that was incredible seeing his relationship grow. And honestly, man, like this is one of the first films in high school that I actually teared up to. There's a scene in it toward the end where it's just like, man, this is powerful.
Yeah.
And just seeing the relational, like him connecting with a family he never met, and just seeing all that stuff. And for me, this is definitely one of my top. I know it's a top five film of mine. I had it on my top five film list, and it's one I definitely still own today and love to watch. My family can't watch it because it's a little too rough and graphic for them, but it is a fantastic film. And to me, I was trying my best while making this list. I was trying not to have too many of one actor in the films. Um, One actor that wasn't on our top five list that I could recall was Will Smith. And as I was making my list, I was like, why is Will not on my list? And I really can't figure it out. He just didn't make top five, but he's kind of an honorable mention. I will say Pursuit of
Yeah.
Happiness for him, and the Bad Boy films, him and Martin Lawrence, those are really good too. And he just, I don't know, for some reason, he just didn't hit my top five.
See, and I've always liked his more sci-fi stuff. You know, I Robot was good. You know, and I feel like that his movies are decent. They're good. They're enjoyable. But are they really top five worthy? You know, and do I own some? Yes. Do I watch them? Yes. But movies that you just get like, oh, dude, man, let me tell you about this film. Not as much. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I like it. I've always loved Independence Day. You know, and it's you know, but it didn't even make an honorable mention for me.
Man, man. So what is your honorable mentions?
Well, I have Hidden Figures. Um, it may seem kind of out of place for my normal comedy or action oriented, but I have to say that you know it was one of those movies that, along with The Green Book, that really kind of you know that are current movies that kind of help you see things more clearly to understand history. And we are talking about Black History this month, so that you know there were huge contributions and there were huge things that folks had to live with or overcome in society that man we were just real jerks. I mean you know a-holes to quote Star Lord. It was not a good time, you know. So again, going back to Making America Great Again, when was it? I don't know, but Hidden Figures was one of those movies that I teared, I laughed, it had a good enough amount of comedy to it, and the actresses in it are just freaking awesome. So,
Yeah, they're all top
um,
notch.
yeah, they really are. Medea Goes to Jail was on my honorable mentions list. It's I mean, it's just funny. To me, it's my favorite Medea movie. Black Klansman is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
off the hook.
That was good too.
It's you know again it gives you enough of a clue into history, African American history, and you know without being like too much overwhelming kind of thing. Um, that I don't know. It just found a good balance there. So the last one that I have on my list here, but I remembered one more. Last Holiday. So talking about Queen Latifah. This has got Queen Latifah and LL Cool J. NCIS LA is probably my favorite NCIS series. So I am a bit of an LL fan. Um, he's got better acting skills than she does. Um, she did well in Last Holiday. I think she had a great director that was able to coax that out of her. And she's doing a don't get me wrong, she's doing a fine job in this TV show. And maybe it's you know director or production that's making it seem like it's not quite up to snuff. Um, and it's not that I don't think that I can you know see her as like a former CIA agent as much as it's not really coming across that way. You know, she's more rough and tumble than you know the intelligence side of the CIA.
Right, right.
And so I don't know. It lacks some of that little bit of je ne sais quoi that I kind of expect from the Equalizer. But getting back to my last honorable mention that I had forgot about, and I'm trying to make sure that I got the right title here. It was. as far as I know, just called the CSA, or Confederate States of America. Um, and it was a Spike Lee film, and I'm still trying to pull it up, and I'm
I'll do
not.
mine real quick. I got a couple
No.
more while you're
Okay,
looking
go
that
ahead.
up.
I'm sorry.
So Set It Off to me was a good film. It was comedy, action, drama, all sorts of
Oh yeah.
stuff. It did have Queen Latifah in it, and she was playing a more suitable role for her real life lifestyle. Um, Also, just kind of a classic. It's just one that I feel like I watched as a kid, not necessarily wanted to live it out per se, but Boys in the Hood is definitely, for me, it's an honorable mention, not really one of my top films because I wouldn't watch it over and over and over again. And I had another one that I was going to, oh man, it slipped my mind. Oh, Last Dragon. Last Dragon is a classic film. Again, I think because it's dated, it doesn't necessarily hit my top five list, but definitely one of my favorite kung fu movies. One of my favorite fighting movies, I'd say. But as far as like African American led films, it didn't quite hit it, but I think that'd probably be number six. So you got your
Actually, I'm scrolling through Spike Lee's films, and of course, there's lots of great stuff on here, from Malcolm X to, of course, Black Klansman. I'm not seeing it. I rented this movie. I promise you, I rented this movie. Um,
what was it about?
so it's taking the perspective of what happened if. Okay, yeah, here it is. Maybe he didn't do it, and no, he didn't. Sorry, I really thought he had done it and he was in it. Anyway, different African American director, Kevin Wilmot, did it. So it's assuming that the South won the Civil War, and what would society be like today
Hmm.
if slavery was still a thing, and it's interesting. It'll make you think. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It'll make you. Hopefully, it makes you angry, because there's stuff in there that just you should get mad about. So, but what
Gotcha.
if the South had won the war?
Cool deal. But that is our top five African American led films. Let us know what yours are in the comments, and we'd be glad to check out any we maybe haven't seen, or I think Sean's probably seen more than I have, but I'd love to check out some new films. So tell me what I need to see that I might not have mentioned. And yeah, man, we'll be back with another segment here soon. Make sure you stay tuned.